Hey guys, you're watching Boondocking with Dennis. We're just coming into Aransas Pass, Texas. So we're going to slow down just a little bit and go 35 miles an hour. We're rebels, we're lawbreakers. Look at those clouds. Look how crooked the camera is. Is that better? Is that better or worse? Better or worse? I got to figure out what movie that's from. I know it's a guy in one of those eye doctor chairs, and the doctor's Dollar General. Doctor is changing the lenses, and he's going better or worse? Better or worse? And it's going to be one of those movies I've seen 30 or 40 times. We've got a stop sign. There's another HEB. HEB. Aransas Pass, Texas. We got a truck. Woo-woo! America! America! Bakery Cafe closed. I wonder what time they close. I'll have to look up there. Business hours. Things I do in my spare time. Going down the rabbit hole. Speaking of rabbit holes.
My wife screamed, "You haven't listened to a single word I've said, have you?" What a weird way to start a conversation.
That's nice. That's actually very funny. I've only heard that from the dad joke button. The original dad joke button. Available everywhere. Fine dad joke buttons are sold. I'm just out for a cruise. I'm really enjoying the golden hour videos. Everything is just pretty. Since I'm indisposed at sunrise, that's when I used to do the golden hour videos, was the first hour of the day. Now I have to elevate my feet and I shoot for the final golden hour of the day. We make a left up here, it brings us to the top side of Aransas Pass, up by the Walmart, which is the fancy Walmart. We can go to Walmart when we're done at the Target. I guess there's no more Kmart's, right? I lived, when I was very young, preschool, across the street from a little stretch of woods, and that stretch of woods became the McDade Mall in Glen Olden, Pennsylvania. They had a Kmart there and a movie theater and the mall where you could get a good old Orange Julius. I played my first ever video game in that mall. It was a dime. It was Pong. Remember Pong? You just had the two paddles with the roller and you hit the little square blip back and forth. They had an arcade there, but the Pong was out in the mall. And they had a store that was like Spencer's Gifts, but it wasn't Spencer's Gifts. And I'm trying to remember the name of the, I think it was called Italian Delight, was the Italian restaurant, if you will, but they had Sicilian pizza and probably basic Italian, American Italian food. That was a big thing. My mom worked in Chester, Pennsylvania, and sometimes we eventually lived in Chester for 3 years. It If you missed me, I was the white kid. I'm the only person who lived in Chester, Pennsylvania, and played hockey. It's a different world. My mom would get off the bus, and sometimes, just when we were living with my grandma, maybe a 5-block walk to the bus station. I'd walk down, or my brothers and my sisters, always on payday, they would walk down with me to meet my mom at the bus, and we would go over and get pizza or something at the mall. That was a big deal. There was also outside of the mall, a separate building, a Pizza Hut. That was a big Friday place to go to. We partied hard on Fridays. When we were at my grandmom's, we always had food at the house, but when we were in an apartment, living with just my mom, I can't tell you how many times you'd open up that refrigerator and you'd see about a 1/4 inch of milk that had to be saved for coffee, and that would be it. I remember one time we had that government cheese, that unsliced 18-inch square cheese, and you had the little cheese slicer with the wire and the roller on it, and that was good eating back then. It wasn't until I got older that I began to think, how come we have to save the milk for coffee? And where did we get money for coffee? We didn't have any food. So, questions that I needed answered later in life. Thank God I had friends with food. Thank God I had a grandmom. When we had the one apartment in Seacane, she lived about 3 blocks away from the apartment. And I'd go over there. My grandmom had the most manicured lawn, because when I would go over there, I would cut her lawn. And it was always nice visiting my grandmom. My grandmom was awesome, but she had food at her house. My grandmom was not what you would call a great cook, but what she could cook was awesome. Bacon and eggs, with the eggs cooked in the bacon grease. And she cooked a mean liver onions and mashed potatoes with green beans. And I've told this story before. One time my grandma was going to get fancy, and she got a recipe for homemade chili, and she served it to us, and everything was really good in it, except it had green beans in it. And I said, man, why is there green beans in the chili? But she said, well, it said 2 cans of beans. My grandma was a very, very white woman. This was before Mexican food hit the area. I don't think Mexican food came to our area. Like, I remember when I was 22, we would get together and go to Taco Bell. That was like as close as we got to Mexican food. And now I'm living in South Texas, where every food is Mexican food, or at least Tex-Mex. I wouldn't mind some Mexican food. I'd like to ask every Tex-Mex restaurant, how old is that rice you're giving us? When you get the rice and the beans, the refried beans, how long ago were those beans refried? I don't think I've ever eaten at a Mexican restaurant where I said, man, this rice is really good. grit the rice is. I had visitors from Philadelphia. Actually, when I talk about the boys have two sisters, and they were visiting from Philadelphia at the time, and we stopped for breakfast tacos. This was probably 8 years ago, and they had never heard of breakfast tacos. I was like, I'm sure there's plenty of breakfast tacos in Philadelphia now, but it's just funny what you're used to here. I said this a few videos ago, but I probably didn't eat an avocado until I was in my 30s. It's just it's a different world. And most of you people that live in Texas have never had pizza. Oh, I see what they're serving down here, but it's not pizza. They're kidding you. I was watching a premiere from Calvin, the Boston Terrierist, and he was up in New Haven, which is considered to be some of the best pizza in the United States. And it's Dave Portnoy who does the pizza reviews. The guy that always says, one bite, everyone knows the rules, and then he immediately takes 3 bites. He highly rates the New Haven pizza. I've gotten great pizza in Philadelphia and New York City. I don't think I've been to New Haven. I don't recall eating pizza there. I didn't know what I was missing at the time. I think we've kind of covered it all so far, right? I got air in my tires. We're all set. We went 41 all the way around. My alarms go off at 34, even though they tell me it takes 35, which is just odd. Gas is expensive. They usually have a good gas price right up here on the right. Let me see what they got today. I have 47 miles of gas left. 2.53, so that came down about 12 cents, and we're just going to ignore that it went up 31 cents a few days ago. Wow, and it's actually 2.53 across the street, diagonal. We're back in Rockport, kids. Buy 10 tacos, get the 11th one free. It doesn't seem like that great of a deal. Los Tamales, I've not eaten there in years and years and years. And I always got decent food there. You guys both are on the wrong side of the road. Jack's Market. Well, tonight we'll be having Bill Miller's barbecue for dinner. Remember in the last video I told you I picked it up. That went in the fridge, and we will have it for dinner tonight, split it up, and have some smoked turkey. Still haven't gone into Dollar Tree. Probably, if I go into Dollar Tree, I'm going to come out with all cheap, salty, sugary snacks. So let's try to avoid that. Rockport, Texas, guys. Home sweet home. Thanks for riding along today. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching.